A terribly long time ago. There was a man and a Pokémon. He loved that Pokémon very much. A war began. The man's beloved Pokémon took part in the war. Several years passed. He was given a tiny box. The man wanted to bring the Pokémon back, no matter what it took. The man built a machine to give it life. He brought his beloved Pokémon back. The man had suffered too much. His rage still had not subsided. He could not forgive the world that had hurt the Pokémon he loved. He turned the machine into the ultimate weapon. The man became a bringer of destruction that ended the war. The Pokémon that was given life must have known. That the lives of many Pokémon were taken to restore its life. The resurrected Pokémon left the man. Hello Pokemon fans, and welcome to a Pokemon theory. I don't do a lot of these, but this one is a doozy. I'm not the first one to come up with this, but I'm certainly going to be one of the first to make a video about it, because it's just that significant when it comes to Pokemon lore, at least in my opinion. Many of you must be wondering where the evidence that supports such a high claim as this can be found. But don't worry, there's evidence. It may not be 100% canon without confirmation, but the evidence is indeed there, don't you worry. That's right, in this video I will show you why it is quite obvious, or at least very likely, that AZ indirectly caused the Darkest Day. Now, here's some background information for those of you wondering. AZ is an immortal. He's lived for 3,000 years, give or take. He was the king of Kalos, which is based on France, 3,000 years ago. And he was the man in this story that you just witnessed. He was the man who unleashed a weapon after resurrecting a Pokemon using that same weapon. The Galar region, it experienced something 3,000 years ago called the Darkest Day. The Darkest Day is when a Pokemon called Eternatus unleashed the energy that caused all Pokemon to Dynamax and Gigantamax, which is basically them growing to massive sizes and wreaking havoc out of control. Many of you probably think that all I have to support this is that they both happened 3,000 years ago, but it's more than that. There's plenty of evidence that they are related. First of all, geography-wise, it is very likely that Kalos and Galar are neighbors. Not only their real-world counterparts support this, but also the fact that the anime shows that an island resembling the UK is off the coast of Kalos. Putting the maps together is not hard. In theory, it works. Basically, the ultimate weapon was powered by infinity energy, which was provided by the lives of many Pokémon that now reside on Route 10 in Kalos. Their life energy became infinity energy, which not only brought a Floette back to life and powered the blast that was the weapon's second function, but the radiation that AZ absorbed by being near it not only made him grow to a very large size, being at least 9 feet tall, but also granted him an immortal life, which is how he survived 3,000 years wandering the planet. The Darkest Day, on the other hand, was caused by Eternatus, which is an extraterrestrial Pokemon in theory. Its Pokedex entry does state that it landed 20,000 years ago in the Galar region. If I had to guess where it landed, I would say the Dusty Bowl. It is in the center of the region, right next to Hammerlock where it was awakened by Rose in the modern time, and the Dusty Bowl strongly resembles a crater. Now, regardless of where Eternatus came from 20,000 years ago, it is 3,000 years ago when the Darkest Day happened. So how is that explained? The most likely explanation is that after it landed, it hibernated for 17,000 years, and then happened to wake up 3,000 years ago, and then wreaked havoc in the Darkest Day before Zacian and Zamazenta defeated it. However, rather than just stating that it happened to wake up 3,000 years ago, the fact that AZ's weapon was used 3,000 years ago strongly implies that there's a correlation. The relationship is kind of obvious. If AZ became gigantic after the radiation from his weapon, and Pokemon become gigantic after radiation from Eternatus affects them, then there's a possible correlation between Eternatus and infinity energy. Even its name, Eternatus, in English comes from eternity, and in Japanese its name is based on infinity. It's actually quite obvious if you think about it. So assuming that the ultimate weapon's blast woke up Eternatus 3,000 years ago, because the energies is what powers it, and Dynamax and Mega Evolution phenomenon are technically related, wouldn't that mean that it was actually Kalos and Galar that were at war 3,000 years ago in the story? This is also very likely. Historically, UK and France have gone to war a lot, but beyond that, it is just a simple fact that it's close enough in the anime and in the games, potentially, for that blast to hit it. If the war going on 3,000 years ago happened around the Dusty Bowl, which is where AZ's troops probably ended up in order to fight the Galarian troops, and both sides were taken out by the ultimate weapon, then it's very likely that that blast hitting the Dusty Bowl, which is a 20,000-year-old crater, in my theory, the energy could have easily been responsible for waking up the slumbering Eternatus that was peacefully hibernating for 17,000 years until then. So if my theory is correct, AZ, in his quest for revenge, after the war took the life of his beloved Pokemon, he unintentionally happened to awaken a monster that fell to Earth 20,000 years ago, and he just happened to be the cause of it waking up and causing more trouble for his enemies. Luckily, Zacian and Zamazenta stopped the Darkest Day, but if they hadn't, well, AZ would have been in for a lot more suffering after walking around on Earth for 3,000 years. Now, beyond this theory, there's also other connections I want to talk about on other days in the future, in other videos, like the connection between these two regions, Kalos and Galar, and the Unova region, because there's so much I want to talk about, because AZ seems to have some relationship to Unova at a very subtle level as well. But that's just a topic for another day. So what do you guys think? Is it plausible, likely, unlikely, completely false that my theory is correct? Is there any evidence that I may have misinterpreted, or is it completely possible in your opinion that I'm right? Tell me what you guys think in the comments below about this theory, and provide any evidence I missed, as well as a healthy debate in order to see if a better one exists. I enjoy making Pokemon theories, although I don't make a lot of them recently, but I do hope to make more in the future. So if you guys did enjoy this theory, or just found it interesting regardless of how plausible you think it is, feel free to like, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos like this. I want to make more Pokemon theories in the future, although I don't make a lot of them recently, but I hope to get back into it, and I appreciate all the support that you guys can give. Again, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.